Call the regular council meeting to order, please, for Tuesday, November the 13th. Approval of the agenda of the November 13th, 2018 regular meeting agenda be adopted as presented. Motion?
I'll move.
Councilor Medlock, Councilor Smith. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Adoption of the minutes, the regular meeting of council from October 22nd, 2018, that the minutes of the regular council meeting held on October 22nd, 2018 be adopted. Move. Second. Councilor Stewart, Councilor D. Smith. We have two delegations tonight. Oh, yes, sorry, thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. We'll get into a routine maybe next week. We have two delegations tonight. I'd ask our first delegation to come forward and introduce themselves, please. The representatives from the Stratus Paper Shop. And they're here to talk to us about selling their paraphernalia in their store and what exactly that means. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, sir. Evening, everybody. Congratulations on the newly elected and the re-elected. First off, we need to make something clear about this. We were misquoted on the last time that we were here talking about the specific bylaw before it was presented, before it was in place. We are not looking for marijuana or for any products with THC. With that, I would like to read everything that I had sent to you guys verbatim. Once again, we need and want to be very clear. We are not asking about marijuana edibles, or anything that has THC. This request is only about paraphernalia, which is the tools, objects, and products used to partake in marijuana, tobacco, and natural herbs. Many of these items receive a stigma that they are only for marijuana, while in all honesty they can be used in a variety of ways. We at Stratus Vapor Shop are respectfully asking council to allow our adult-only business to be allowed to sell paraphernalia, please. All of these products we are asking to carry for resale already at this time legally pass across international borders. Since we opened our business here 18 months ago in Hope, we have had to pay for storage for inventory we had previously purchased. Merchandise which we had been selling in our brick and mortar for 2 years prior to moving to Hope. It is still unused and was and has been completely legal to possess and sell. With our business, because of the potential for nicotine in some e-liquids, Tobacco Authority has mandated that we have our front windows blocked out from potentially underage individuals seeing the e-liquids. Therefore, with paraphernalia, children or those individuals in our community that are not wanting to have a visual of these types of products are also protected by inadvertently laying eyes upon them. We will not be adding signage to our windows that doesn't already exist, nor on the sidewalk or overhead marquee. These products are not illegal. They are age restricted, as is our store. We already ID anybody and everybody who is remotely questionable of age that comes into our business, and will remain doing so adamantly. We are asking that you help our local business retain business locally. Integrity and respect of each other is of utmost importance to us and every other local as we move forward into this new legal age of marijuana. Help us maintain the standard we all want so much for Hope. We are asking that our business be allowed to sell paraphernalia in the district of Hope, BC. That is it. Nothing fancy, nothing fun. It's just a part of our business that we ask you guys to allow us to do. It is completely legal. Any questions at all, please feel free.
Any councilors? Questions for the Councilor Smith?
Hi, is there anybody in town selling this stuff that we don't know about?
Oh yes,
Because on an under-counter thing.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
To elaborate a little bit on that, thank you for the question. People do anything to make a profit. We want to do it respectfully, both to our community and to each other. We want this to be an open format for us. With the age restriction on our store being in place already, nobody underage is going to be coming and purchasing this stuff, nor is there going to be children looking at it or seeing it. It's not a convenience store. It's not sitting on the counter in any place that anybody can walk into. It is age restricted, as are the products. They are not illegal, so please allow us to have them in our business. If you guys do not know, before we were allowed a business license in Hope, we had to sign a promissory letter to not sell paraphernalia. Our store is based basically on e-cigarettes. It is to help stop quitting. It is an aid. That is all that it is. Some of our products potentially carry nicotine, but that's all we do in our store. We have a little bit of miscellaneous stuff here and there, some signage, some knickknacks, but it is only an age-appropriate store, 19 and above in BC. That is all who comes in. With these products, you will help us maintain our business and keep our doors open in this community. We are trying to be respectful, and we're trying to have integrity, and we ask that you guys allow us, please.
Councilor Menlo.
Thank you. I have a question I guess I should direct through to staff. Being that the bylaw that you've attached here, here, 1428, with the prohibition of retail sale and cannabis-linked paraphernalia or byproduct, currently there is still a prohibition. And we're working towards finding out solutions to that. That's what the survey was all about. And I think the ball is probably in council's court now to start making some decisions around that. But what would be the process if we were to allow paraphernalia, for example, only? We have to separate it out from this bylaw and go through that process of several meetings? Is that the idea?
You'd have to do another zoning amendment and follow the public hearing process and everything.
So without presuming the outcome of a decision about retail sale of cannabis, what would you assume would be the timeline if council wasn't in favor of moving forward in that direction?
I mean, realistically, it would take us into the new year. Currently, I know planning has a backlog of applications coming forward that we've been holding off with the turnover of council. This would be probably a simpler rewrite, and we could link it in with some other applications that are going forward for public hearings so that we could hold a number of them, multiple applications on the same evening.
So it would be quicker, you're saying, to do an amendment to this bylaw to allow paraphernalia but still have the prohibition on the retail sale of cannabis until such time as we're ready to move forward with that?
We could just rework this wording so that we take out the cannabis-linked paraphernalia and don't talk about it, and then it wouldn't be in the prohibition.
Okay, I'll wait for other comments.
Thank you, through you. Thank you for coming out and seeing us. I do think, like you've already mentioned, this is being sold in stores right now illegally. I think I'd like to see. Sorry
to cut you off, Justin. Technically, it's not illegally.
Yeah.
It's mandated from the prohibition, but previous to that, there was no bylaw in place.
So it could be under the consideration of bylaw or grandfather, I guess, as you can look at it that way. But I think what we need to do is table this to a CAL for us, committee of whole meeting as a council, about going into this a little bit more, so we get a little bit more detail from staff as well. I don't think we can make a decision tonight on doing that. I'd like to see a little bit more discussion, if we could, with a little bit more information behind the paraphernalia and the byproduct part of it. They're asking for just the paraphernalia end of it. Maybe on the descriptions of it, how would it be read that paraphernalia isn't just you're selling pipes to just smoke tobacco? How is that not that gray area part of it? Because he could say it's tobacco related option, not a marijuana or cannabis linked option.
I have a list of about 40 different things that these products can be used for.
Yeah.
It's the stigma behind marijuana. We
Yeah.
want to remain respectful to the community and to our council. That's why we're here asking for
Yeah.
permission. We could simply put up signs for tobacco use only,
Yeah.
right? And majority of that product would be allowable in our store right now as we talk.
Yeah.
We're not wanting to do that.
Yeah, I thank you for that, and that kind of what I was touching on is, we have local businesses coming to us and asking for respect on this, to look at this a little bit more in depth, so we can obviously have more money spent in town as well, so I do think that we should have possibly put this to a committee of the whole, and get a little bit more information from staff on it, how we can move forward with this. That's my suggestion. Thank you.
Oh, wait, is anybody else have a comment? I don't want
No. Go ahead. Back to Councilor Medlock again.
to. Okay, for me, I think this is more simple than that. I think it would be wise to start the process to remove the word paraphernalia from this bylaw. And then, I'm a fan of moving forward with the retail sale of cannabis and starting to form the bylaws sooner than later. First meeting official of council, I think it's a time to sort of get that ball rolling. While I won't make a motion for that formally today, I think that would be something that should be brought up on an agenda in the near future. Certainly in the realm of a committee of the whole, to have discussion with the new council to see where our feelings are. But if it's all right, I would like to make a motion then that we amend bylaw 1428 to remove the wording, how would it need to be? I guess we can leave in as well as the sale of cannabis byproducts, for example, edibles and infused liquids, but we can remove the word paraphernalia. Paraphernalia or, yeah.
I'd like to second that motion,
Just to reread the motion.
Yeah, there's some clarity on
So
Clarity of the
the
motion.
motion will be to amend bylaw number 1428 to read under 5.12D, the use or approval of any planning or business-related retail sale or dispensing of cannabis, as well as the sale of cannabis-linked byproducts, example edibles or infused liquids, etc. That would be the new wording. So removing the words paraphernalia and or.
So it would be an amendment to this bylaw, it would be an
Well, a whole
amendment to
new
the
bylaw.
zoning bylaw in
Gotcha.
general, but it would
That is the
net
proper
out the
process.
same,
Okay,
yeah,
but that's the wording I would see in that section then.
yeah.
Okay. That's my motion.
and I'd still like to second.
And I have a second. Councilor Stewart?
Just discussion real quick. Is there any other bylaws on this that are linked through business application or anything like that, that could withhold an applicant stepping on and having trouble, like with paraphernalia and any of the other bylaws that we might know of?
Not off the top of my head, we haven't detailed it out specifically in the business licensing bylaw.
Okay.
I just don't want to see something that we're moving forward on this and then all of a sudden there's another hiccup along the way is what I'm trying to get at.
When I searched through bylaws, I could not find anything that pertained to paraphernalia itself. The only thing that I had was the promissory letter that we had signed previous. And then also, I felt personally, and as did my wife and partners, that it was the signage part of it as well. So as long as we don't change our storefront or signage in any way than what's already existing, we should be able to just go ahead with 1420D. In my personal research, I don't know.
Council, are there any other questions? Or
Just one more thing if I could add. I just want to rationalize why I'm thinking this. So I'm looking at cannabis is currently legal for use at home and wherever. And if people so choose to do so, and they want to buy this type of paraphernalia, they're certainly going to do it, and they're probably going to go somewhere else to do it. So therefore, I think we might as well have the option. I think your store is a good option for it, being that it is blocked out with the black, just as your email said there. You know, it does show low risk. And then all those other places that are currently potentially selling it, those type of products, there would be no need to enforce a bylaw or anything with them, they would already be in compliance if this was to go through, so that's sort of the rationale as to why I think it's simple. But again, I just want to urge that we should still try to move forward on the whole retail sale of cannabis issue as a whole.
Councillor Surley.
So I just want to say that I do support moving forward with this as well, and it's unfortunate that we got to go piece by piece, but I can accept that we're going piece by piece because we're moving in the right direction as far as I'm concerned. And I also agree with you about the location and the blocked out windows and the fact that they do check for identification. I think that they put good measures in place. So I am supporting moving forward with this motion for this reason.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor. All those in favor? All opposed? It's carried. So please keep in touch with staff and
Absolutely.
how this will unfold from now on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time, everybody. Congratulations once again.
Next delegation, please, is Mr. Jim Delney, the Chief Election Officer from previous recent 2018 election. Mr. Delney.
Good evening, Your Worship and Council. As outlined in Section 158 of the Local Government Act, within 30 days after the declaration of official election results for an election by voting, the Chief Election Officer must submit a report of the election results to the local government. That report and required information, I believe, has been submitted and forms part of your agenda package this evening. The only comment I have regarding the report is the fact that voter turnout for 2018 municipal election was at 34%, 5% lower than voter turnout in 2014 local election. This was surprising to us as a team in light of our advanced voting opportunity that saw a 42% increase in 2014. It appears that the 2 days of advanced voting siphoned voter turnout away from the general voting day to advanced voting day, causing the increase and decrease in the numbers. All our voting opportunity days had sunny, mild temperature and weather conditions. Lineups were not unmanageable, or they weren't too long. And the voting place access was reasonable. So it appears lower voter turnout seems to be a societal trend throughout the province of British Columbia, as the district's turnout is similar to the provincial averages. In general, myself, Deputy Chief Election Officer Jessica Hartnett, and 13 election official employees created the team that delivered the election event. We provided 2 advanced voting opportunities on October 10th and 17th. We administered special voting opportunities at the Fraser Canyon Hospital, Fraser Hope Lodge, Riverside Manor, and Park Street Manor. We delivered and administered mail-out voting opportunities from the District Hall, allowing people to vote by mail. We provided curbside voting, I think on at least one occasion throughout the process, whereby people would drive up and unable to attend the voting place, we would take the voting package to them in the car. As well as we administered general voting day on October 20th. All were administered and completed to a high standard without any difficulties. I would like to extend my sincere thanks and praise to Jessica Hartnett, who, as Deputy Chief Election Officer, provided outstanding support, excellent work, and professionalism throughout the event. Also, thank you to Deputy Chief Election Officer Donna Bellingham for her assistance, and to John Podolowski and the district staff for their patience as I took over the offices upstairs for a long period of time. And lastly, thank you for the opportunity to undertake the role of Chief Elections Officer for the District of Hope. I will be completing all final election arrangements, requirements, paperwork to ensure that forms, files, and supplies are stored and available for the next election. Submitted with respect.
Thank you, Mr. Delney. Any questions, Council, for Mr. Delney?
Thank you.
Thank you. track. So staff reports, that the memo dated November 13th, 2018 from the Chief Election Officer and the Deputy Chief Election Officer regarding the 2018 election results be received.
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Councillor Other Smith. I still have to wrestle with that. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Report dated October 23rd from the Director of Corporate Services, read the appointments to the Board of Variance. That council appoint Jerry Dybel or Donna Kropp to replace Peter Robb to the District of Hope Board of Variance to fulfill the 3-year term, which took effect September the 11th, 2017, or until new successors are duly appointed. I need a specific name, Councillor Stewart, on who you want to, either Donna Kropp or Jerry Dybel in your motion.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Donna Kropp.
Second.
Second by Councillor D. Smith.
Just quick question on this. We do have to pick one of the two on this part of it? Okay, I just want to clarify that. Yeah.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. So Donna Kropp will be our new member on the Hope Board of Variance. Thank you. Next report is from the Director of Finance for tonight for the grant and aid, and they're looking for some council direction on exactly how to proceed with the distribution. Do you want to speak to this at all, or do you want just some input from council?
I can speak to it.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Worship. So annually, for the current grant and aid policy, we accept applications up to October 15th for the following year's financial plan inclusion. Previous councils had set policy whereby there is, from the years 15 to 2019, or 10,000 allocated for this line item. For this year's applications received, we had 4, and they are first one, Hope Community Choir was looking for $500, basically for the purchase of sheet music and some travel expenses. Fraser Canyon Hospice Society are requesting $2,000, and that's for Camp Skylar Children's Bereavement Camp. Hope Mountain Center for Outdoor Learning is looking for $1,500 towards the construction and installation of 2 registration kiosks at 2 of the HBC trails. Business trailheads. And lastly, Mount Hope Senior Citizens Housing Society requesting $2,000 for carpet replacement for 3 rims of paint and some paint. So it leaves some in the budget for potential things that may pop up. Again, we do have the policy whereby the applications have to be up to the 15th. So we have a process in place, but potentially something could come up where the balance of that 10,000, because we do include 10,000 in the budget as per the policy. So staff's looking for direction on these 4 applications. Just a couple other points, especially for the new council members and the mayor. There are 3 line items in our budget for the Arts Council, the Transit Society, and Crime Prevention. Each have 5,000, which until something's changed, those are automatic in the grant and aid section of the financial plan. And also, probably at some point in 2019, we'll actually have to revisit this policy as the dollar amounts in the policy expire at the end of 2019. so that will be forthcoming on a separate agenda item. So what staff's looking for tonight is direction on those 4 applications, whether to accept or otherwise. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Curtis. Any questions for the Director of Finance? I think it's pretty straightforward. So I'll entertain a motion to accept staff's recommendation on the distribution of the grant aid. Councillor Smith? Councillor Trahan? Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Here's one question.
Sure.
Just a question through the mayor to staff. So this policy, does the entire policy expire then? And a whole new policy could be drafted with new requirements and provisions and everything like this draft?
If that's council's wish, I mean, I don't want to have to reinvent the wheel, but the dollar amount certainly expire. I don't want to, again, create a whole new policy if it's not necessary.
Gotcha. Okay.
But also, just for clarification, your worship, on this report, I'm not actually recommending the amounts, it's just what's submitted. So I just want to clarify that I'm not here to make the recommendation. It's basically for council to sit here and
Mr. Mayor, if I can as well, if they're in their staff report, it means that they've met the vetting as per the policy. So it's a decision that you can rest a little easier with, as opposed to you just putting in all the applications. One thing to note is with the current grant and aid policy tightening up, you'll notice that the number of applicants is generally reducing because the policy is being very effective in encouraging these grant applications to be one-time, like seed or event, as opposed to operating lines in their budgets, which had been the historic situation in the past. And that's not necessarily the idea behind grants and aid.
One more quick question through you. Now, if there's a shortfall on, for the budgeted amount, would that just go into the reserved, look at, or for the amounts of the policy for the next year, or?
well, I don't really have a grant needs reserve, but obviously, if we don't spend it, it would be in surplus. It would just be a general surplus that, again, council can say, let's go ahead and do 10,000 again for the next 5 years.
Okay.
And then each year, again, we go through the same process.
Thanks.
Or maybe put it aside for some more carvings, some event.
Good.
Good. All right, the next item under staff reports is that council approved the preparation of a development variance permit in order to relax mobile home park bylaw 6393, section 4.021, buffer area provision from 4.6 meters, 15 feet, to 3.0 meters, 9.8 feet, in order to construct a new common building in the form of a shop for the property at 65367 Copper Lake Road. Further, that council authorize the Director of Community Development to endorse the development variance permit and required covenant document. Further, that for the purposes of section 504 of the Local Government Act, substantially start shall mean the placement of the foundation for the common building shop as approved by the District of Hope. And further, that in accordance with the District of Hope application procedures and public hearing information meeting procedural bylaw, the Local Government Act, and the Community Charter authorize staff to issue a notice of intent to consider the approval of the development variance permit to the neighboring property owners. Some questions for
The recommendation.
I'll second with a question. Okay. Now, for the neighboring property owners, will this go to the tenants of the trailer park, or will it go to neighboring properties that whole property?
Honorable Mayor, through you, yes, it will go to all the tenants that are in that 50-meter radius of that site, which would include tenants and neighboring properties.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, councilors, staff? So I have a mover and a second. All those in favor? All those carried. Committee reports, there are no committee reports tonight. Mayor and council reports. I guess I'll start tonight. It's only been a week, we had a few things on the go. First of all, I attended the Hospital Auxiliary Silent Auction. It was another great fundraising event. They raised $19,000. It's a good turnout and very good support for the community. I attended Hans Jessek's retirement party. Hans is a long-time resident, a realtor in town. He started the original Chamber of Commerce in Hope. It was a board of trade at the time, and he made the transition to the Chamber of Commerce. And a well-deserved retirement for him, and a great turnout. It was good to see everybody there supporting him. I met with staff and our MLA Jackie Taggart to discuss areas of opportunity and support for our community. She's made herself available for any opportunities that we see that she could be of service, so that's always good. This morning actually, the mayor and council attended the George Cup Governance Seminar put on by the Fraser Valley Regional District today to get up to speed on proper handling of council and staff and how bylaws, policies. We covered just about everything to do with governance for the community, so it was a good meeting. The last thing I'd like to mention is for a long-term citizen of the community, it's Fran Morrison's 100th birthday this Saturday. So some of us are going to attend on behalf of council. So if you see her on the street, and she was at the Remembrance Day service, please wish her a happy 100th birthday. That's all I've got tonight, and I'll start with Councillor Smith.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, myself as well attended the seminar this morning as well. Found it very informative. I think in the first term I had, you sit back and so much learning, and I know newcomers will feel the same way. But it was reassuring that I think the past term and this term going forward, we have touched on a lot of things that George Cupp talked about on how governance works, with how structure works. So I'm very encouraged about that. My first Advantage Hope meeting will be tomorrow at 7 p.m. Looking forward to liaison with the board, communicate back to council on this. Be sitting on with Councillor Medlock. A couple discussions we had as well, actually going down to the meeting and throughout since the election period too, is with our newspaper. Councillor Stu and myself had talked a little bit about the monthly ad that we do at the end of the month, and changing a bit, maybe possibly. So I'd like to see if we can maybe do some discussion on maybe changing it up, talk about how we could change it up for getting a little bit better communication out to the community as well, different ideas. Mr. Fortolowski had mentioned too, maybe one councillor makes a mention every month type thing, different councillor every month. So something like that. I'd like to see a discussion down the road with that. But other than that, yeah, I'm pretty excited about this new council and moving forward. Things are good. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Smith.
Thank you. Yeah, again, I was at the session today. It was the first time I think that they've had a governance type session like that in terms that I've sat on council. But it's good to do it early on in the term and sort of a good refresher and always learn something. I love learning, so that was a good session to go to for that. As Councillor Smith said, there's an Advantage Hope meeting tomorrow. Mr. Fortolowski, if you have time tomorrow, I'd like to try and pop by just to have a couple of questions. The appointed auditor for Advantage Hope has given notice that we'll not be doing audits any further, so a bit of a time crunch being close to year end and all. And I wonder if we can just have some conversation about how that works. Oh, you're leaving tomorrow.
Can I attend that business as soon as I return?
Yes,
I don't think
how
it's
about I
that
just
urgent.
type it out in an email and you can get back to me when you're back. But it is something that's important that needs to get some clarification on, so yeah, okay, that's good. Thanks for the reminder on that. And then that's all. I have the Advantage Hope meeting tomorrow.
Councillor Smith.
Hi. I also attended the meeting today, which was very informative. Also went to the Silver Creek Playground fundraiser at Chalice, and also the Hospital Auxiliary, which I very supported for years. I think it's a great thing we do here in town. I can't believe every year they do so well. Everybody is so supportive. Also, the Communities in Bloom put the planters, we put valves and that out in, and on the December the 8th, when they have the event downtown, there will be LED lights in them, so they'll all be lit up. So I know that we can work with Kevin to make the town look really nice in the Christmas spirit that we become accustomed to. So I do like the team spirit, new council mats, of course myself and Greg, we're new at the game here, but I do appreciate this. Thank you.
Thank you. I also attended the government session today. I thought that was great. And it was nice that we were all able to be there, well, with the exception of Councilor Erickson, but it was really great. I also attended the Silver Creek event on November 2nd, and I have a card for council that is currently sitting on my kitchen table. So, I forgot. So they wanted us to know that they were very appreciative of our contribution and the help that we gave to get that to become a reality. Just want to mention that Golden Agers are having their AGM next Tuesday at 1 p.m. and they'll elect some new directors. So that would be great if anyone's interested in becoming a member of the Golden Agers. That's a really great, worthy place to be. And I would like to make a request for the supportive council to make a recommendation that we look, or direct staff to look into the installation of a bench in front of the walk-in clinic in the 200 block of Wallace Street. And I guess I need to put that in the form of a motion or just a discussion.
Well, you can put it in the form of a motion, then we'll discuss it.
If it pleases you, I would like to make a motion that we make recommendations to staff to investigate the implementation and installation of a bench at the walk-in, or close to the walk-in clinic in the 200 block of Wallace Street.
I'll second that.
Thank you. So the reason I'm bringing forward this motion is because the lineups for the walk-in clinic can be quite lengthy, and often there are people who have mobility challenges, seniors, or people who are just feeling really, really awful. And we currently do not, I'm sorry, Craig, we currently do not have a place for people to sit if they're having trouble standing. And I would just like to see us look into a solution for that.
If the communication through that would, to Dr. Gregan in his office as well too, I think, when that going forward, because he might be involved in not realizing that maybe there should be something outside to work with when the discussion goes forward.
Any other comments on that? So there are motions on the table and call for a vote. All in favor? Thank you. Opposed? Carried? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Councilor Tron?
I, as well as everybody else here today, attended George Cuff's governor's seminar. And for a guy like me just starting out, I kind of am open-minded, but I took in a lot of what George said and a lot of, like Scott was saying, Councilor Miller was saying, a lot of it's informative for someone who's been in there for a while, as well as he also kind of catered to someone such as myself who's just starting out as well. And I was able to get a lot of good information from George and just everything to kind of help my confidence moving forward. This being my first meeting, going through the first agenda and stuff, it's getting more and more excited the further I get into it. And like Councilor Smith, I also attended the hospital auxiliary and was shocked how many people attended. I couldn't believe how many businesses donated out to it, and the amount of money they raised was great. I mean, I couldn't get too far into the door without, obviously talking with lots of community members. But yeah, it was great turnout, and I look forward to more community events like that to attend. Thank you.
Thank you, councilors. Next item is permits and bylaws. And fees and charges amendment bylaw. The fees and charges amendment bylaw number 1440, 2018 be adopted this 13th day of November, 2018.
I'll move adoption.
Move adoption. Councilor Medlock. Second. Any questions for staff? Thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? Carried. The 2018-2022 financial plan amendment bylaw, that the District of Hope 2018-2022 financial plan amendment bylaw number 1441, 2018 be read the first, second, and third time this 13th day of November 2018.
So moved.
Councillor Smith, second Councillor Tron. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Report dated November 13th from the Director of Community Development. 3, the District of Hope zoning amendment bylaw number 1442, 2018, 444 Trans-Canada Highway. Mr. Bullard, I believe. The District of Hope zoning amendment bylaw number 1442, 2018 be given first, second readings in order to rezone the property legally described as Lot 1, Section 16, TWP 5 RGE 26 W6M YD Plan 9850 PID 009-640-118 444 Trans-Canada Highway from Highway Commercial C2 to Commercial Transition C5. And further, that the public be notified in accordance with the District of Hope application procedures and public hearing information meeting procedural bylaw number 1393, the Local Government Act, and the Community Charter. I was just going to turn it over to staff for a moment. Mr. Gill?
Mr. Mayor, the applicant is proposing a mixed-use building that would have 3 commercial units on the ground floor and 23 residential units on a 3-level above commercial units. The residential units will consist of 4 1-bedroom units, 18 2-bedroom units, and 1 3-bedroom unit. In order to maximize the opportunity for commercial tenants, the applicant is requesting the rezoning from the C2 zone to the C5 zone. The attached proposal with the report does meet the provisions of the zoning bylaw, including the parking requirements. Council should note the property is on the market at this time. The aim of the property owner is to sell the property as a complete development package. Council should note that under its current zoning, a similar built form could be made. It's just that the commercial would have to meet the highway commercial zone uses such as restaurant or convenience store.
Council, any questions of staff at this time? Mr. Medlock?
Just one question. So the only reason to ask for a rezoning application from C2 to C5 is just to open up the options that the commercial space could be used for to potential tenants in the future.
Yes, Mayor, through you. Yes, that is correct. With the C5 zone, you're able to now move into uses such as retail, professional,
Medical,
office.
dental.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. So you're gonna move?
No. You want to move staff?
I will move the recommendation as read. Yeah.
Councillor Stewart, the second. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Correspondence, move the motion to receive. Correspondence. Councillor Smith. Councillor Tron. We'll do it at either end there, which is good. There's no other pertinent business at this time. At this time, is there any call for questions from the public for any items relevant to the agenda? All right. No, pretty quiet night. Thank you for doing that.
Wait till next week.
Our next meeting, November 26th, next meeting, 2018, 7 p.m. here in the council chambers. So, motion to adjourn. Councilor Smith.
Second.
A double Smith. Thank you very much.